welcome to learntocook.com. I'm Chef Mark, and today, our live session, we welcome you to chat. Join us to chat as we do 2 root vegetables and a flowering vegetable today, beets, parsnips, and broccoli. Feel free to produce your screen if you like to chat and type in some questions. You can do it anonymously. Use a pseudonym. We're happy to take your questions on beets. One of my favorite vegetables actually are organic beets, and I like the golden beets, which I have today. We'll be preparing that. Sometimes if the beets are very small, they call them Harvard beets, or if you're from Boston, you say Harvard, or we say Harvard. Harvard beets are also, I remember using them sliced in a can on salads years back. But with the advent of organic small farmers many times, and these are organic beets that I got, they're storage beets from Wisconsin because it's nearby. Madison has a wonderful farmer's market. So why organic beets as opposed to non-organic? Well, they're a root vegetable. They tend to absorb a lot of nutrients and, of course, chemicals in the soil. So I buy the organic ones because I'm going to eat the root vegetables. Same with a parsnip, right? Parsnip. Sometimes you might get confused with a carrot, but they look identical. It's similar texture, similar consistency. So, and then of course we'll be doing broccoli today. And a couple ways to prepare broccoli. I'm going to cook it whole, which is different from what you perhaps have seen we did on a pre-recorded session. But back to those beets. So the beets themselves, you can just make sure they aren't soggy and damaged. I avoid the real large beets because, well, they can be a pain to cook, right? Do many times with the large beet, is I'll make a carpaccio. I have that here. So what's a carpaccio? You may have heard of a tuna carpaccio or beef carpaccio. Sliced raw thin veal. Of course, sliced raw thin fish is called a sashimi. Though a tuna carpaccio, same idea. Sliced very thin, different than sashimi. Very, very thin, the slices sliced on a mandolin. This is about $20. This little mandolin that I purchased in the store. The blade is extremely sharp, so be very careful. So what I do is I buy the golden and red beet. I do the golden beet first. I peel it, and then I pare it down so it'll fit in here into the, so it gives you a slice, so it fits into the sled. So then I do the red beet after. That's the only time I peel beets because I don't peel them when I cook them. I'll peel them, slice them thin, and I have them on this platter. So I have a nice carpaccio, an Italian word for sliced thin. Veal carpaccio, salsa tonato is a classic Italian appetizer. It's sliced veal with a tuna sauce. So here we have the golden beet sliced, very, very paper thin. You can always see through them. And the red beet sliced paper thin. A little basil. I like to give a little Asian flair. I put some sesame oil. This is actually black sesame oil. Black sesame oil, very unique and different. Was a tribute oil to the Chinese emperors way back. It's from the black sesame seed. Imagine black and white sesame seeds. So a little different, a little darker. So I'll sprinkle some of those goma shiro, black sesame seeds on the top. And then maybe some of the golden sesame seeds. And pretty much you're ready to enjoy that. You can put a little dash of vinegar if you like, raspberry vinegar. So that's nice. I do that in the summertime or any time of year where I get fresh root vegetables like a kohlrabi, right? You go, what's a kohlrabi? They're in the markets, depends what time of year. They get larger and larger as the season goes, the climate is warm. But kohlrabi carpaccio is also nice to serve. Or you do daikon, right? Icicle radish. So I draw the line on raw turnips, though. But very healthy, great benefit, and relatively fat-free. But having said that, that's our cold beet dish for the adventurous. Now we're going to cook the red beet. I buy the small red beet. I wash them, I scrub them because they're grown in dirt. I don't peel them before I cook them. So I have them over here on the stove. I want to show you. If you have any questions, feel free to type them. We're happy to take your questions. It's a live session, right? So I know you have lots of beet questions, I'm sure, today. Maybe parsnip questions. Certainly some broccoli questions, right? That's more common. So beets are a root vegetable. You cook beets, get a lot of steam in your house, good to warm your fingers up to, right? So they're in water. Drop them in cold water, pretty much double the height of the water, so because it reduces a lot. You can see them here in their skin. You want to pour some vinegar. Why do you want vinegar in a red vegetable? I did that earlier, so. And you cook them covered. Why do we want vinegar to cook a red or white vegetable? What does it do? And why would we cook a red or white, or a beet, red cabbage, or a white vegetable covered? There's two things for you to think about. So those will cook very nicely. Put them on a little earlier so you wouldn't have to wait. It's good 45 minutes before they cook. That's kind of why I avoid the gigantic beets. It's just you have to cut them up. And with the red beets, there's lots of beet juice everywhere. That's the reason why we don't peel them. Not so much with these. I like the small ones. It's just to show you for my carpaccio. Because when you peel the beet, the golden beet can look like that. It's very nice. So let's see if these beets are done. And how do we know that they're done? Well, not unlike when you're cooking a potato, take a paring knife and find the largest one. Slides right off. Look at that. Those beets are done. Now that took 40 minutes. So you're thinking about why we add vinegar to red and white vegetables and why we cover them. Then I'm going to ask you, why do we not cover green vegetables? Because we'll be cooking a broccoli very shortly. Someone asked the question, does the golden beet taste like the red beet? I can say that the younger the beet, the more delicate the flavor. Also, the fresher the beet, the less beety it is. And the golden beet seems to have a little lighter, yes, a little lighter flavor. So many folks favor the golden beet over the red beet. That's a great question. So the golden beet tends to have a little lighter flavor, less of whatever's in those dark red beets, right? So I took them out, they're done. Discard the water, there's no use for that. Just push it up to the side. The question was, does any vinegar work, or does it have to be apple cider? Any vinegar is fine. It's the acid any acid is fine. Any vinegar is fine. Plain old white vinegar. I just happen to have apple cider vinegar. Organic apple cider vinegar. White vinegar works fine. The vinegar and acid, keeping it covered, traps the acid and the vapors in there so that the beet will stay nice and red. The red cabbage can stay nice and red, not turn purple. And the cauliflower too. So lemon juice, vinegar in the water is great for that. So once they have cooled, I'll peel them, which I have. I'll peel them and then I'll quarter them. So you can peel them and keep them whole. To bite like a small apple, probably not. You probably want to put them in a sauce of some sort. Not too many folks just eat beets. A lot of folks will have beets tossed in butter. That's fine. Clarified butter, olive oil, salt, little basil. If you want them in a beet salad, which I also enjoy them cold. Hot beets, I guess it's like asparagus or artichoke. It's an acquired taste. So what I've done is, and I've done for years, make a fruit sauce with beets. And in this case, I have some blood orange juice. Blood orange juice. Regular orange juice is fine. Blood orange gives it a little more darker color. And I have some sugar. So what I did was, I put a cup and a half of blood orange juice or orange juice, and heated up, reduced it a little bit, added some sugar until it had the flavor that I liked. All right. And then I heated that up. And then I added a slurry. Now a slurry is a mixture of cornstarch and water. We use that to have a transparent or somewhat translucent fruit sauce. So when that blood orange juice and that sugar reduced a little bit, I brought it to a boil. I mixed equal parts of cornstarch and water into a slurry, and I poured it into the simmering liquid. And I have a nice blood orange sauce. And I want to taste it to see how it tastes. It tastes really good. You actually want to season your food products towards the end of the cooking time, right? So a little salt and pepper, because if you're making a sauce many times, it might reduce the salt down. So I have my beets in a skillet here. Whoops, a couple fell on the floor. Something for the dishwasher to do, right? Which is usually you or me. So I have the beets in the pan. I'm going to heat them up. Stir up my really nice blood orange sauce. Put a little sauce in there. Get that hot. We have also sectioned some oranges. And I have my heated serving dish I'm going to put the beets in. And I have a zester because I'm going to make some orange zest on the top as I garnish it. So let's toss that around. I hate when that beet juice gets on my chef's coat. So a little Grand Marnier, right? So a little Grand Marnier. You know, chefs were actually pyromaniacs at heart, so just a little Grand Marnier in there to give it some flavor because it's an orange liqueur. And then I'm going to add some more of that sauce. You know, that's a delicious beet dish, I have to tell you. I've been eating beets since I was a little kid. Must be one of those, you know, Gen X baby boomer things. You have to have beets, like you have to eat those green beets. All right. So I added the salt and pepper. Let's taste again. That's, wow, really delicious. Let's bring it over here to our countertop. Where I'm going to dish up my nice beets. You can reduce the sauce a little bit. Now the blood orange juice, and cooking them in the acid, lemon juice based water with salt, really, you know, it gives a beautiful color. So I really like that. It gives it a great color. Nice and hot. Let's put the few orange segments on the top. Those are room temperature. You can heat them in the pan as well. And I want to put some blood orange, regular orange zest, a little zester. This is a tasty beet dish. You know, beets are very, what do you say, root-like flavor, beety flavor. So this kind of cuts that beetness. But I think you're going to really enjoy eating beets like this. They're really great. And it sure looks nice. I'm going to just put a few red peppers for extra color. All right, so that's our first dish. Pretty nice, huh? I do say so myself. Okay, we're going to put that to the side and have that later on. So let's see, what's next on the agenda? We have today, we're doing those lovely parsnips. Kind of looks like an anemic carrot. There's a carrot next to it. Make sure the parsnip is not as soft as this one. Some more softer. Should be firmer. When you buy a carrot, carrot should be firm. It shouldn't bend too far over. That's relatively fresh, right? Many times you see carrot with big, large splits, or parsnips with big splits. That means they were stored in a very cold or frozen environment. Not the end of the world, but. So parsnips, there they are. Carrot, we're going to peel them. I'm going to have a roasting pan handy. When I peel, I have this Y peeler, they call it. I have my oven on 350. I have some olive oil, some salt, some, like you see, salt or coarse salt. I'm going to peel my parsnips. There's no use for the skins. Now, the parsnips themselves, many times, restaurants trying to figure out what am I going to do with these parsnips, they fry up really nice. If you cut them in thin strips, other than the ones we're going to cut up and deep fry them, they make a great garnish. Someone asked the question, if you're using alcohol, do you need to burn it off? Well, I like the flame, and if you're going to serve the vegetable to kids, you don't want to have unflambéed alcohol, right? So that's the real reason. Or you can just leave it in and not flame it. So yeah, that's another great question. The kids like to have that sometimes, so you have to watch out, right? So I peeled my, I'm going to say rutabaga, but it's actually a parsnip. I think I like rutabagas better than parsnips. I'm then going to cut them Here's the size that I want. So I'm going to just cut off a little section at the base, right? So that the knife, my knife is sharp, and I peeled it. I'm going to cut myself maybe a 1/4 inch plank. So when you're cutting vegetables like that, when you're close quarters, make sure your hand is on the cutting board, it's secured. Hopefully you didn't bite your nails down too much. You can use the nail to hold it about a 1/4 inch or larger. Plank them up and cut them in half again. And when you're cutting, be sure to work over the cutting board. Keep it in A shape is important. Don't work this way. Someone's bound to bang into you as you're working. You might get stabbed, cut yourself. So always use the back part of the knife in a nice motion, sawing motion. The back part, the heavy part cuts for you. Avoid pressing. Very hard to cut if you're pressing. Use the knife as it's meant to be. So we have those, I guess you would call those a batonette. Classic batonette cut in cooking is 2 inches by a 1/4 inch by a 1/4 inch. So here is a nice combination of carrot and parsnip sticks, or batonette cut. So we're going to put in there. I'm going to put some olive oil first. I'm going to roast them, because roasted carrots are tasty, roasted vegetables are tasty, roasted parsnips are very tasty. I'm also going to put some salt in there. And put some pepper on after. I'm going to combine it in a roasting pan at 350 degrees. I'm going to toss that together. When I roast tomatoes, many times I'll take a large tomato and a big round tomato and cut it in half around the equator, sit upside down, and roast it with a fresh thyme. And then I remove the skin and the fresh thyme. But in this case, we don't want to put any dried or fresh herbs that are going to burn because we're roasting it. So we'll do that after. So salt. You can probably put some pepper if you want to in there. I like to put the pepper on after because it's still fresh at that point. It hasn't been exposed to heat as much. So that's going to go into the oven. So that's pretty straightforward, right? Look, the parsnip that is not, too soft. Some turn into a U. I discarded those. I'm at the market. People always looking at me because I'm very close in the market. And I see people watching me. And this guy bending over, looking very close at vegetables. They must think I'm crazy or some eccentric vegetable shopper. So we cut them into batonette. Also cut these on a long bias, like a circle, and deep fry those. So you have lots of use for them. But parsnips, very healthy. Have a little sort of a rutabaga, turnip, acidic note to them, a little tart note, not a little less sweet than a carrot. So again, buying organic vegetables, a little better for you, right? They absorb nutrients, they also absorb all those chemicals used in agricultural practices. So fruit vegetables, organic, are nice. They cost more, but they're better for you. And if that isn't the case, in-season vegetables are usually very fresh and very tasty. You can't believe what an in-season beet and carrot and parsnip tastes like, or rutabaga, or kohlrabi, really cool. So salt and pepper into the oven to roast. So this is hot, so I have some I roasted earlier, right? Otherwise, you would be here a long time watching me, probably very boring, waiting 45 minutes for the beets or the parsnips to be cooked. You're going to put a hot tray on your counter. You don't put hot things on your board. You'll burn it, so have a towel nearby. And I have my roasted parsnips and carrots. So for this preparation, I have a nice bowl. It's a very simple preparation. I'm going to finish it off with some pepper, some freshly ground Tellicherry pepper. I'm going to take my spatula. I have a heated vegetable dish. So, the carrots are nice and sweet. And I'm starting to see purple and orange, purple and red carrots on the market. Strangely enough, like potatoes, there are about 15 different colors of carrots. For some reason, we're used to the orange-colored ones. So I see the other ones now coming on the market, and they're great. So purple asparagus the other week, pretty exciting. As a chef, I guess these things, as a foodie, they become very exciting, these things. I'm gonna put this tray down. It's hot, so don't burn yourself. So nicely roasted. Very nice vegetable to have. Decided to put some toasted sesame seeds, not toasted, the goma, the black sesame seeds. I think a little more oil would be nice, or olive oil. And I'm going to garnish it with some fresh chives. And that's a beautiful roasted parsnips and carrot dish for another great vegetable dish any time of year. Let's put that aside over here. So I bet you didn't know you can make parsnips look and taste that good. Same with the beets. Where'd my beets go? They're over here. Our next dish is the broccoli, right? And the next dish is our broccoli. Can't wait to taste these again. We're going to cook some broccoli. I have some boiling water. Different than what you may have seen on our pre-recorded session is I'm going to cook the broccoli whole and present it whole. Sometimes that's nice to do. You need to have a larger pot so it'll be submerged, right? Last time we peeled the broccoli, which we will do this time as well. Just take your paring knife. There's water on to boil with salt in it. Take your paring knife. Peel off, you see that? The tough stalk from the broccoli. And I can use broccolini, right? You may have seen that, very small. Same preparation, which is nice. So I try to buy the broccoli isn't too damaged. In the market, they sell the broccoli crowns now. I don't know what they do with the stalk. There must be somewhere. So there's the broccoli crown. The idea is to find one that's as firm as possible. Well, these were the best in the market. Some little separation here. And they come in ice. They're called ice broccoli, usually shipped in ice. So it's ready to be cooked. So I have boiling water. I'm going to submerge that in the boiling water. And I'm not going to cover it, right? I'm not going to cover the broccoli. Now, why will I not cover green vegetables, you may ask? Well, I'll give that a few minutes. Why don't we cover green vegetables like green beans or asparagus or broccoli? And why don't we use vinegar in those? Something to ruminate about. So that's in the, be careful cooking broccoli like asparagus. It's very unforgiving if you forget and all the broccoli florets disperse into the water. You have these stalks. It's happened to me at home on occasion, and even in the professional environment. So it's in that water boiling. When it comes to a boil, I'm going to watch, make sure it simmers nice and slow so the fronds and the florets don't break off. I'm going to lower that for a little bit. Then I'm going to have some ice water nearby. And the ice water will help me just, shock the vegetable and perhaps even set the color so the chlorophyll doesn't become completely dissipated. So a little ice water, and I take it out. And then I can keep the broccoli in my warming drawer with some hot water and saran wrap, which I have. Now, for the broccoli, you can do a few things. And what I have prepared is a bechamel sauce. And in my bechamel sauce is actually a dairy-free bechamel sauce, known as a white sauce. I have canola oil and flour, which I cook together to make a roux, right? It's almost a 1-to-1 ratio of fat to flour. So you have butter, usually clarified butter, which is butter that's been cooked so that the fat's removed off the top and poured into a bowl. And equal parts flour, and that's cooked together. And I use soy milk, so it's a dairy-free bechamel sauce, dairy-free white sauce. Now, some people call it cream sauce, but there's no cream in a cream sauce, so you don't put cream in a cream sauce. We call it white sauce or classic bechamel sauce. So I made a bechamel sauce earlier. and I added a few pinches of thyme in there. And I also added some sauteed garlic that I cooked very, very slowly in some clarified butter. Here's my clarified butter. The impurities have been skimmed off the top, and all the milk solids have been removed by pouring it off. So this is butter I can saute with on high heat. Good to have a little clarified butter, especially when you make fried eggs or anything that you're not going to eat. If you make it an omelet, by eat I mean with a fried egg, the butter isn't usually part of the frying process. We flip the egg in the clarified butter and we blot the egg dry. With an omelet, you always want to use softened butter. But I made this dairy-free bechamel sauce, dairy-free white sauce. One of the classic mother sauces, right? Bechamel, Espanol, tomato hollandaise, and velouté. So that's nice and hot. I added 2 pinches of fresh thyme. I had 2 cloves of garlic that I minced very finely and cooked in the clarified butter. And I'm going to add the equivalent of a 1/4 cup of grated cheese. And you can probably see my broccoli back there boiling away. So let's lower that. Now, if you're going to use a white sauce, just be mindful that dairy products, if you're using dairy, or even almond milk or coconut milk or soy milk, they'll burn, so be very careful. I always use the Vic bottom pan if you're going to make a sauce. If you use the Vin bottom pan, it tends to burn them. So that's nice and hot. Let's taste that and see how that flavor is. Now the question is, can you use milk? The classic bechamel recipe is with 100% vitamin D milk, you bet. That's really nice. A little garlic. Parmesan, grated Parmesan Reggiano in there, and your classic white sauce. Let's turn the heat off. If that broccoli is doing good, let's take out the broccoli that I have in my warming drawer. So, have the broccoli in my warming drawer. I'm going to bring it over here to my station. You can see the steam coming off of that. It was in a 200-degree oven, so it's warmer than most warming drawers. Let's pour out some of that liquid. And that liquid kept the broccoli nice and hot. Let's bring our sauce. We want to pour that over the top. Very beautiful dish, very tasty dish. Now you say, well, that has, well, you know, it's dairy-free, so there's some fat in there, but it's nominal. If you don't want to have, or if you do not want to use a bechamel, dairy-free bechamel, or you don't want to use a white sauce, saute up some garlic and some vinegar and fresh basil and toss that and pour that over the cooked whole broccoli. And then I'm going to garnish with some fresh basil. And then I'm just going to sprinkle a little salt on there to finish off on the top of that. And there's a very beautiful broccoli with a non-dairy bechamel sauce with garlic and cheese. You can call it maybe white cheese sauce, which is very nice. So we have our 4 vegetable dishes we did today in short order. We have our carpaccio of golden beets and red beets, organic. And then we have the really nice roasted parsnips and carrots with olive oil, sesame seeds, and the fresh chives. And that beet dish is very beautiful. You got the beautiful organic baby beets, preferably with a little orange liqueur, blood orange sauce before the tasting that. Then My broccoli's on the stove. It's doing good in there. How do you know broccoli is done? Same with the beet. You take the paring knife, and when the stalk of the broccoli easily pierced with a knife, then you know that the broccoli is done. You'll take that out as well, and you put that in ice. So I'll be doing that shortly. But pretty much, that wraps up our session today. 4 great dishes. Any other questions before we close out? Tell you about next week and the week after. So a month from today, we'll be doing Spring Festival foods, Lunar New Year, or what we call Chinese New Year. A month from today is February 9th through the 15th, or the Chinese New Year. So there'll be some great dishes. Maybe pick up an inexpensive wok, and we can keep on walking together.
Question, Chef. Can you use canned beets for your dish with orange sauce?
Someone asked the question, can we use canned beets? You sure can. The canned beets would be small, whole canned beets, not the slice they break up. That works fine as well. And usually beets, it's January. We're here in the Midwest, and there's still beets in the market. And with air travel, the seasons, you can still get strawberries in January in Chicago. They're just not from California, they're from other parts of the world. So they taste best in season, that's for sure. So, having said that, it's great to have you as part of our community of cooks. We are creating that for you when we do our live sessions. Participate as often as you can. Tell your friends about it. It's a great thing. So, if aren't any other questions, I look forward to seeing you online. And thanks for joining us. See you next week. Bon appetit and have a great day. Bye-bye.